Hey guys, Drifter here. I'm back again on Favela. Going to be playing some Blitz this time with the silenced K7. Well, I guess the K7 is always suppressed since it has a built-in attachment. I had the idea to rush really hard early on, but unfortunately, T. Martin knows how to play this map just as well as I do. I forgot for a moment that I wasn't in a public lobby at home, and I was playing with really good YouTubers and developers and stuff, and I got shut down again. So my tactics aren't working. Instead of a very aggressive rushing K7, I had to swap over to a more conservative, stealthy K7, which is really what the weapon is made for anyway. In this gameplay, I am going to get the Y8 kill streak, or the AC-130 gunship, the Y8 gunship, whatever you want to call it. It's the KEM for this map. It's the big bad gunship in the sky that destroys everything, and it's very, very fun. I can't remember if this is the game where I broke out the chainsaw or not, but I do think not. I think I'm sticking with the SMGs all the way, which this is definitely an SMG map. Of all the new maps, this is the close range one, and this was a fun gameplay. I kind of, the pros are just going to roast me for this one. I kind of like Blitz on occasion. The game mode does have some difficulties in that it is very difficult to defend we'll say the zone. It was supposed to be like reverse CTF. That's more like the bomb mode in Halo, but it's difficult to defend, but it is nice for a change of pace because I play Team Deathmatch a little bit, and I play Domination a lot, and sometimes Domination gets boring, even though it's my favorite game mode, and that's probably my best game mode in both enjoyability and score. I do get tired of it. The nostalgia factor only goes so far, which is some other things I wanted to talk about in this map, and that was the nostalgia factor. For some reason, we as humans really have a tendency to glorify the past more than we should, both in our history and in our personal experiences. Here comes in the Y8 gunship. Basically, it's the AC-130, and replicating my past experiences, I'm trying as hard as I can to swing all over the map and hit people and try and pick them off with the third gun, which, that third weapon just never really panned out for me. I very rarely got kills with it. I got okay with it in MW2, but it was never really as useful as the big one, and I called it in at the end of the round. I just feel like an idiot. I just felt like it was totally wasted. I wanted to cry, but I did get a final kill with it, which is pretty cool. But the thing about nostalgia is that it can really skew our judgment of the present. You can see this in gaming, like, oh, MW2 was the best COD game ever made, or COD 4, or all of these things, but you forget MW2 had one-man army noob tubes, you had broken danger close, you had knifing that were like 20 feet dashes through walls, or people say COD 4, and I was like, yeah, well, you forget that COD 4 had one balancing update ever, and you could throw 3 grenades and plant claymores everywhere, or that you could die and then call in your helicopter and use your helicopter to get you more helicopters, which wasn't very good game design, and it wasn't a perfect game. However, it was your first experience, that taste of what we liked, which is how we as human beings are conditioned. That's why we say first impressions are important, and why it's better to learn how to do something the right way, or the information the right way, the first time than it is to let it stay. And this is what was interesting to me. But basically, I'm getting so off track. So many things I want to talk about. Nostalgia works to where you get a sense of something good. Let's say in the year 2008 or 9 when MW2 was bumping, and that was the thing. You played it, and you played Favela, and your first game you had a great game, and maybe the next one was okay, and the next one really was kind of bad, and then you had 2 more great games on Favela. After this initial sampling of experiences, most of them are fairly positive, and in your brain, regardless of if you like it or not, because we're just kind of wired this way, you're going to think about Favela as being a great map. I got a very long range kill there. I shouldn't have done that one. I don't know why I missed the knife. Anyway, I got really kind of turned around here, but you're going to think of this as being a great map, and it's just going to stay there, and it's going to cement for years and years and years and years and years, and you're going to slowly forget about the bad games and about the flaws and all these other sort of things. So when you think back to maps you like, you're going to remember like, oh yeah, Favela was like perfect, it was great, I loved it, and I had no problems whatsoever, and that was some very acrobatic kills I had going on right there, which is also interesting because the way we do nostalgia is also kind of the way we as human beings do facts. I was reading a study recently that it doesn't really matter if your facts or right is not when you're in an argument or you're trying to convince somebody politically or socially to change their behavior. Changing behavior is very important because that's really the only measurable outcome or belief systems. So even if you have a mountain of facts, a whole pile of research and studies and all this sort of stuff versus somebody who has nothing but an anecdotal belief, the amount of facts that you have very rarely changes the idea of the beliefs of the person. Rather, the more effective way to change the beliefs of the person is to challenge their core identity and to try and change their core identity, because they will think of themselves as a certain kind of person who believes these things, and that these things fit with their perception of themselves, because we are very vain and self-centered creatures, and we view the world based in some way as projections of ourselves. Now this is all generalities, of course, everybody's different. So instead, if you wanted to convince somebody of a fact about, let's say, global warming, instead of just bombing them with info over and over and over on one side or the other, you would instead start off by opening them with, what kind of future do you want to have? And of course they would say a good one. It's like, okay, a good one. Well, what's your good future like? And you have them describe themselves and their future, and maybe ask about some of the challenges of their future, and you have to slowly work this way back around to global warming and explain that global warming could be, say, a challenge to their future, to the point where they realize that they really need to learn about this, that this could be a threat to their identity and how they project themselves being. I'm running out of time here, but you can kind of see where I'm going and nostalgia in this map, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.